Hello, and welcome back to the show! Before we get started, make sure you like, share, and leave a comment at the end of the video. And if you like the show and want more, make sure you check out our Patreon, where you can access content like behind-the-scenes vlogs, previews for up-and-coming projects, gaming sessions, and exclusive bonus episodes. Also, make sure you check out our Etsy shop for merch. We have plenty of shirts, mugs, and even stickers. And lastly, if you want to follow us elsewhere, look for @RyanPodsFunny on all other platforms. Now on with the show. Hello, and welcome back to Reydar, the podcast where you join me while I try to make new friends. Today, we actually have somebody that I have a pretty interesting introduction story for. Milan.
Hello. How's it going?
That right? I'm always super self-conscious about. I'm terrible at remembering people's names.
Yeah.
Literally last time we recorded, I forgot Josh's name, and we worked together.
Your name is spelled Rian, and so I know it's Ryan, but in my I get self-conscious too, so I'm like, is it Rian? I know it's Ryan.
No, yeah, that was honestly before 2012. That was a huge thing for me because I don't know what it was about what happened that year, but so many other people started coming out with weird spellings of Ryan. Before then, Ryan was Ryan, and it didn't matter how many other Bryans you knew with a weird fucking name. Ryan was that, and people get mad at me because of the I.
Oh yeah, you're right. Because if you just put the B on there, then that's the normal spelling of Brian.
I've seen Brian spelled Breion.
Yeah,
and people got it immediately. I've never seen someone struggle with Brian. It is the bane of our. It's funny is there's a group in LA called the Ryans. It's something specific, but they're.
I've heard of this. They flash mob. They meet up, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
It started with a former guest of my old podcast, LA Friends. They met through them. LA Friends was this community group on Discord of just adults trying to find friends.
Yeah.
So they hosted public events. I think they're still running. Check them out. A bunch of Ryans met through that, and then they started meeting up. So they started forming their own group. They started a variety show last month. I wasn't able to make, but I was invited. And that's their tagline is you get, or when you were signing up to be on the event, the first security question is, are you sure you're not a Brian? Because if so, you're not invited. And I thought that was funny. There's a real beef between Brians and Ryans.
And so it is kind of exclusively for Ryans.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's I guess I get it. It's a common thing. It's hey, we all have this one thing in common already.
Hell yeah.
And then we find other interests beyond that.
Because I feel like Ryans get a bad rap. All the coolest actors are named Ryan, but all of the most annoying characters in movies are named Ryan. It's frustrating.
Yeah, Ryan Gosling, popular actor. Ryan on the OC. I don't know. I'm trying to think of a character who's named Ryan.
Maybe I'm too biased.
Yeah. I feel like you have one specific example, but you don't want to say.
I don't.
Yeah.
You know who you are. No. But going back to... So, we met in kind of an interesting way, right? It was, I want to say 2017.
Yeah.
I was with Dominic on a trip through Portland, and we were trying to fill our last week there with as many mics as possible. And so we were just on the local apps. We found one 5 feet from a show we were doing. Not literally, but and it turned out to be your going away party. We kind of crashed it.
No, I was moving from Portland to LA that month basically, and you guys just happened to be there. What show were you doing before that, Mike?
I don't remember. It wasn't my show. It was Dominic's show.
Okay,
but it was Lena Day.
Okay.
I think.
And it was nearby where the mic was.
Yeah, okay. It was a local theater house.
So you guys walked in and you were expecting to just get a little stage time while you were traveling, but then everybody's on stage roasting me, not really roasting even, but just saying memories about me, not even really doing material. And you guys are well, we're just here to practice some stuff because, we're here traveling and we want to work out material before our next show. And there's a cake. Somebody brought a going away cake, which was really nice. And yeah, I kept apologizing to you guys. I kept saying sorry. I was like, hey, I'm sorry, guys. I didn't expect this to be like a going away thing. I'm sorry, you guys didn't know.
I mean, I do think it was like promoted as much. We just didn't read the flyer. We just saw open mic and then the location. So it was kind of on our part. We kind of crashed it.
Yeah.
But it was funny because like it was such a smooth process, like going in and signing up. Nobody told us anything. They just let us sign up. But you know, everyone was there for you. So the list, as I assume, was like pre-developed. So
know.
we were like 12th and 13th, around 6 people in. We realized like, oh, there's a theme.
Yeah. I guess now you're like, okay, I guess now I have to go up and say my favorite memory I've had with this person I've just met.
No, yeah. That was the thing of like, hey, I don't have a memory.
I don't have
that
any
was my
memories.
first line is like, I've never met this person before. I did not know this was an event.
Yeah. You're like, I already live in LA.
I'll see you there.
I'll see you there, yeah.
And then we did.
Yeah.
That was pretty fun.
That is an interesting thing. And then I moved to LA, and then we would like see each other at mics and stuff. But yeah, that was the first time I saw both of you guys or met both of you guys.
How'd I do?
Huh? You guys were funny. Both of you were funny.
Hell yeah.
You guys were kind of the only funny ones in a weird way because you were the only ones doing stand up.
We're doing a try. Everyone was just like,
Everyone
this is
was
my
just,
friend.
This is my friend.
We were like, airline food, am I right?
Yeah. Everyone's like, for he's a jolly good fellow. you're like, yeah. So toilet paper is crazy. And
I got cake though. That cake was good.
Yeah, it was good. It was like a chocolate cake, I remember.
I think it was, if I remember, it was yellow cake with chocolate frosting.
That sounds right, yeah.
Which I love because for some reason, I've never met someone who didn't slightly, not undercook it, but take it out slightly early. So it was like soft.
Like undercooked?
Not like raw undercooked, but like just a little bit softer than it's supposed to be. And for some reason it works. It's the only cake combination I feel that can pull that off.
I've never noticed that. I had a birthday like last week and I had no cake. I asked for brownies.
Nice.
So we ate brownies and ice cream instead of cake. But I do like cake. I just this year I was like, I'm gonna eat the dessert, the exact dessert that I want to eat. Yeah,
no, I definitely feel you. No. There was a couple times. There was one specific time I remember where like I have a thing where I gravitate towards weird flavors. Not even like weird, but like from 1 year for my birthday, I wanted red velvet cake, which is such a specific cake to request for like a 14-year-old. So my mom cooked 2 cakes. She made a smaller one for me and then a bigger regular birthday cake for everyone else. They ate the red velvet first.
Yeah, I was gonna say nobody ate everyone went for the red velvet first. Yeah.
But yeah,
was that special cake? It's like, yeah, it was supposed to be for Ryan.
That was the thing. Was like we've never had red velvet before. Yeah. So they just went to town.
There's like a 5-year period where everyone in my family was obsessed with red velvet cake. Like that's all anybody wanted to eat, and it was like the trendiest thing. Red velvet cake is just chocolate cake. I'm pretty sure with red food coloring.
I've heard that rumor. It depends on the individual recipe because there's 2 versions of it. There's 2 consistent versions I've heard. One is that it's just red chocolate cake. Another one is that it's white cake with cacao powder and vinegar.
Well,
and red food dye.
I don't know if that's the type that my family was eating. I'm pretty sure they were eating whatever the most generic version was, but they were obsessed with it. Red velvet everything, and then red velvet cupcakes, red velvet cookies. It was insane. We had blinders on in this country for like a 7-year period.
For sure,
that's
it was
all
definitely a thing.
Yeah.
The only one that I didn't like because I don't think the texture was conducive was a red velvet cake pop. It's ironically too dry for a cake pop, I feel like.
Cake pops are super moist. That's like their thing, right?
Because it's just like a clumped ball.
It's a clump ball, yeah.
Dipped in chocolate.
I've only had a cake pop a couple times in my life, and it was good, but it was like weird. It was like my first time eating boba, where I'm like, this is a texture that I'm not used to.
I can't. I respectfully have nothing against the actual flavor palette of boba or the tradition and culture behind it.
Yeah,
I hate the texture.
You gotta grow up, Ryan. You gotta mature your palate to boba.
It's just like I like the flavor. It's just the texture gets me. You know, I'm autistic and have sensory issues, but I still like to order boba because certain places they give you a big straw, And I don't know if you've ever done. It's the stupidest reason, but when you shoot the boba through the straw, it creates a specific like pew noise.
Yes.
That is just
It is
very satisfying.
It's very satisfying. The suction the suction cup of getting it in. It's like it's perfect. They're designed. Whoever like designed the diameter of the straw with the size of the boba. It's like scientifically made.
Have you seen The Incredibles?
Yes.
It sounds like the scene where he gets caught on the computer and they just start shooting like giant balloons at him. It sounds exactly like that.
Okay, I'll rewatch that. I don't remember that scene.
Kind of like somewhere between the impact of a water balloon and like a dodgeball, rubber dodgeball,
and that and like when you're at the bank and they like suction the money into the tube, something like that too. There's a combo of all those things. Yeah, well, you know, next time you get boba, just this is what I do. I just suck them into my mouth and I spit them into a bowl. So just so I can get the sensation.
That's how I figured it out.
That's how you get.
But going back to last year, I think my favorite cake is tres leche cake. I don't know if you've had tres leche cake.
I've had it a couple times. It's good, but I've only had it like in the last few years. It's a new cake for me, and I do like it.
Yeah, me and my dad, it's like our favorite, but not everyone else enjoys it as much. Mm-hmm. So last year, they bought cupcakes for everyone, and then they just got me. A Mexican store had like cups of tres leche cake.
Okay.
It was fun. It was like a little individual serving.
A little individualized. Nobody can take that from you. Yeah. It's not like the red velvet. Nobody.
I'm super like.
It's not going to have 15 spoons coming in, right?
That's become like a thing for myself of like, I'm going to buy a small version for me.
Yeah.
Nobody knows it exists. So
you have to do stuff like that as you get older. Like, you can have the party, like for birthdays or special events. It's like, I want to do the party with my friends or with my family or whatever. But I kind of like just having a day where I just do the thing alone. Like, with no friends or family. I just do the things that I want to do.
No, for sure.
Like a day out. Like I'm playing hooky, kind of, you know?
I definitely get that vibe. Dominic's like that. He, a couple years in a row, he did this thing where like he planned a day of just shit he wants to do.
Yeah.
And then like he didn't specifically not invite anyone, but he wasn't like nobody had to come for him to accomplish what he wanted. Like the way I believe that he handled it was he posted like to Instagram and Facebook like, "Hey, this is my itinerary for the day. It's my birthday. If you want to come, join. If not, I'm still doing stuff I want to do."
That's nice. That's a good way to do it. I'm more private. I'm not broadcasting any of this. I'm just gonna go out and do a little weird. I'm gonna have sunglasses and a hat on. I don't want anyone to see me.
I used to make a big deal about my birthday, not in like a, give me attention, selfish kind of way, but more in like, in high school, I started getting into planning and like coming up with ideas for parties.
Yeah.
And the first couple ones worked. My senior year was kind of depressing. Not depressing. I had family there. It was a great birthday. I appreciate everyone involved because a lot of my family helped me plan it. But like, so the first time I did it, it was a Halloween party, and just like my mom is insanely like awesome for this, but she helped me plan like an alien and invasion themed. Oh no, it was an alien autopsy themed party. It was like a horror party. So she had a friend who happened to have a prop alien. And she just made like the snack table, the operating table.
It sounds like she suggested this theme. She was like, Ryan, what about an all alien autopsy theme?
That was the thing. It was like either it was specifically in like push or it was just like an amazing coincidence.
Yeah.
But it was fun. She made like a sub sandwich that looked like, she like went all out for it. She made a sub sandwich that looked like a snake, like a I think she was going for like the Predator thing.
Yeah.
Not Predator, Alien.
Yeah.
It was fun. We had movies. We had a costume contest. That Halloween, I also like. I have no pictures of it. It's so disappointing. I made a giant, like shitty robot, like intentionally bad B-movie robot.
Yeah.
Out of like Home Depot boxes, and my dad's were like not my dad, my brother's reflective tape, like the kind used for air conditioners.
Yeah.
And I walked around like that, just making robot. I beatbox.
Oh, this was like, a costume.
Yeah, like it was a full functioning. The funniest thing about it, and I think this added to it, was like I miscalculated where the armholes should go. so it hung too low. So I made like hillbilly suspenders out of the tape, and that's how it dangled on my body.
Oh, okay, gotcha. It wasn't just arms popping out. It was like hanging over you.
Yeah, like a barrel suit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. So people can kind of see the shirt inside.
Yeah.
Like you can see that you're wearing like a button-up shirt.
It was stressful to go to school like that.
You went to school like this?
I had to completely remove the suit every time I wanted to sit down or just stand for the day.
That's wild.
What about you? Do you like Halloween?
I do like Halloween. I like horror movies, but I don't like the pressure of thinking of a costume. I'll usually try to do something semi-funny just because I'm not in the habit of like dressing scary. So I'll try to do like a joke costume or something, something that's kind of like on the light side. So it's a little too much pressure for me sometimes, but
I feel the same.
Yeah.
That's kind of where the robot came from. And it inspired like a personal tradition of mine of like, if I can come up with the cheapest, like most intricate, but least stressful version of the costume, then it happens.
Yeah.
Like not even intricate, just like super specific, but super accessible. Like, last year I was Grogu, and it was literally just a hat that I had made myself. I like bought a neon green hat and I stitched Grogu ears to it. And then I turned a Snuggie backwards and I carried a mug around.
yeah, that's pretty accessible, simple.
Or like, one year I was Pac-Man. I just bought I went to Urban X and I just got all neon yellow and some like red oven mitts.
That's good. Yeah,
And then my mom had like thick LA sunglasses and I just taped the eye triangles to them.
That's a great costume. I can imagine that. I went as challengers. My girlfriend and I went as last Halloween. But we just dressed up like tennis players, basically.
Oh, right.
That's it. But it's too much. But I like horror movies and I like scary stuff. But I just like the parties stress me out because you also don't want to be the person that just doesn't dress up because then everybody looks at you like, oh, you're not in the spirit. I'm like, no, I like all this stuff. I just I didn't have time to think of all this.
Yeah.
I procrastinated too long.
I feel like if you know what I mean, if you're an adult, you should have be allowed some grace in not being able to pull a costume together.
Yeah. I just tell everyone I have a baby now. That's how I get out of all costumes. Yeah, I would have put together a costume, but the old ball and chain. I call my baby a ball and chain. I would never call my wife that, but I call my baby a ball and chain.
I should be the costume one year.
Ball and chain would be good. Yeah, that's good. How would I do that? Would I be the ball? And then somebody else, I'll have the baby on a chain.
Shackled to you?
Yeah.
Dressed in all black?
Yeah, it's a role reversal. I'm the baby's ball and chain.
True.
When people say ball and chain, is that like, why are they both things? Like the chain is just connecting the ball to you. Well, you should just be calling them a ball, right?
Yeah. I also feel like there's a technical term for the ball.
It's called a ball and chain.
The whole
apparatus.
The apparatus is a ball and chain.
I'm pretty certain. I'll double check.
What do you know what it's based on, right?
No, I don't.
It's like old ways to keep prisoners from running away during like community service and stuff.
Oh, well,
literally
okay.
A ball on a chain connected to their ankle so they couldn't run.
That I'm aware of, but what I'm saying is the ball is the thing that's weighing you down. I guess the chain is integral to that or whatever. Yeah, you're right. Anyways, I do like Halloween.
Are you like, so what kind of horror movies have you into? Are you more like psychological thriller? You like
Well, I like sci-fi horror. Right. Like Alien is one of my favorite horror movies. I think Alien at a kind of a later age, like in my 20s, got me into horror because I wasn't growing up. I thought it was too scary, but then I don't know. There was a certain like thing about watching Alien that I was like, oh, this is like, I'm not like super scared right now, but it's like pretty scary and like I more like the sci-fi aspect of it, and then that got me more into other types of horror movies. And now I'll kind of watch anything. I don't love stuff with jump scares, but I do like. Now I'm definitely more into them than I was before. I like all the Ari Aster stuff. I like Midsommar. I like Hereditary. I like kind of all the hipster kind of horror, like the premium horror stuff. But I
feel like that's kind of a new genre that's kind of erupted because it's like adjacent to like alternative, like not B movie, but like indie horror. But it's not exactly the same vibe.
Yeah, like X is kind of like that. I don't know if you ever watch X. Yeah, so it's like its own genre now. But I like sci-fi horror.
Hereditary was crazy.
Hereditary is
I
crazy.
met it saw for the first time like this year.
You watched it this year?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, it's so good. I was like, wow, this is what I've been missing.
Yeah, and it is scary. I think a lot of people watching it, they're like, it wasn't that scary. I was like, I had some pretty bad nightmares after watching that.
They're like curdling screams of a mother.
Yeah.
You know, that's horror right there.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. Yeah. That's what gets me. That was another Halloween costume 2 years ago. I was one of the guys from Hereditary.
Were you Alex Wolf's character?
I was the son. Yeah, is he Alex
Yeah, he's
Wolf?
the son.
I
remember him because he's from, I don't know if you knew this,
Jumanji.
He's from... No.
Is it really? Is that the kid from Jumanji?
He is in Jumanji.
When he was 9, him and his brother were part of a Nickelodeon band called the Naked Brothers Band.
Oh yeah. I mean, I've heard of them. I didn't know he was in that.
I was super into that show.
Yeah.
As a kid.
Yeah, that scene where she lights them on fire. I was like, what?
Crazy.
I was like, this is yeah, exactly what I thought.
It's crazy.
I thought how she goes out was fucking. It was so much to sit through.
Or banging her head on the ceiling.
No, like she saws her head off.
Oh yeah.
And they don't show it, but you just hear it happening while this dude freaks out because he.
Oh yeah.
Sorry, spoilers.
I was just about to say a spoiler too, and I was like, man, maybe I shouldn't say that.
Yeah, maybe we shouldn't spoil. We'll bleep it. Gone pretty far, but
that'll actually be really funny. And she bleep into bleep. But yeah, I watch like any horror, but there's definitely some like, I feel like I'm not like a jaded like hipster when it comes to horror, but I definitely am more into like, I do love the community and like history and like intent from classic horror and how that influences certain people. And like I don't know if you watch the Dead Meat channel.
No.
There's a lot of different segments that they do, but the one that I was introduced to by Armando Torres, shout out to Armando Torres, was called Kill Count. Where
I've heard of Kill Count.
Yeah, it would start off as just counting, like going through a brief synopsis, and then it turned into like, because he himself is a fan of horror, he would go into the behind the scenes. Sometimes he'd even interview people from the movie, and like that's the kind of horror fan I feel like I am, where I'm like I like when there's actual like thought put into the structure of the horror, even if it's just a glory slasher, like. What was one that was like really unique to me? It Follows. It's not a slasher.
I like that movie a lot. That's a great movie.
Because there's that weird concept about how the monster kills you is that it like sucks the life out of you by having sex with you, which is weird.
Yeah.
That concept is weird, but the like actual tonal like aesthetic and the execution of the film I think is really interesting. My favorite thing is that there's kind of no soundtrack.
Yeah.
There's just that single toned like I forget what it's called, like a water drum.
Yeah, I'm trying to think back. I watched it a few months ago. Again, since the first time I saw it, it holds up.
Yeah.
But yeah, thinking back, I think you're right. There's not a ton of music in it. It's a pretty quiet movie.
I think there's only 3 points that actually have, and it's not scoring. It's just like the characters listening to the radio.
Yeah,
and that's like the only type of that, and that single toned like whenever the main character's walking towards the camera. They're just hitting a bell. It's crazy.
It's a good thing in horror to have minimalism. Generally, that helps. They'll say that about like monster movies. It's like the less you see the monster, the scarier it is, and all that kind of stuff. I think a good mark of horror movie is how much of it can take place during the day and still scare you.
Yeah, that was like the other thing. Is like 90% of it was during the day. That's like.
Yeah, Midsommar is a great example where it's like super bright the whole time, but it's still, to me, a scary movie. It's like kind of psychologically scary, but I think it's like legitimately, it kind of frightens me, and it's super bright. It's like a very colorful movie. I've seen like reviews on it where like it's kind of intentional. Yeah. Like it's an allegory for cult culture and stuff like that. But I think that's like hard mode, making a scary movie on hard mode.
Yeah.
Where everything's bright and you can see everything that's going on. Yeah.
But yeah, I'm trying to. I'm just thinking of every horror movie I like.
Well, I was gonna say about kill count is I have my friend Chris does a funny thing where he's too. I hope he. I don't think he would mind me saying this, but he's too like afraid to watch horror movies. But all he does is watch kill count, and so he knows about more horror movies than I do, just because he'll watch the summaries of all of them.
No, yeah, that's like a funny.
Sorry. I can talk to him about horror movies, but he's like, "Oh yeah, I saw the kill count about that," but I'm too afraid to watch the actual movie. But it's great because we can actually have a discussion about it.
No, yeah, my little brother sometimes gives me shit because often certain movies I find out about through kill count. And it's, I'm an anxious person. I love horror movies, but I am also like very susceptible to like the psychological aspects and like the jump scares and stuff. I have OCD and I have intrusive thoughts. So it's probably not the most conducive hobby to have. But so a lot of times kill count will be a gauge when I want to watch a new movie, I'll know right away whether or not it's too stressful for me to watch in person, and then I'll finish the kill count.
Yeah.
Or I'll hear the brief description and I'll be like, okay, maybe I want to see this in person, and then I stop watching.
Okay.
There's definitely some movies I found out about through that I'm glad I avoided. But there's some interesting ones. It also like got me to just start going back to the movie theaters and like seeing, like last year I saw, what was it, Late Night with the Devil?
Oh yeah, I started that. I haven't finished it.
It's crazy. It's
but
good.
I enjoyed the first 30 minutes before everything gets crazy. I've enjoyed the tone of it.
I wanted to watch that. I haven't seen it, but I heard it. I wasn't gonna watch it. I was like, bleh. But then I heard it was based on the James Randall, the guy who was like trying to prove that there was no such thing as supernatural.
Well, it's. I wouldn't say it's necessarily an homage film, but it parodies a lot of specific a lot of layered concepts of like reality media at its inception and like what it became and stuff like there's a lot of references to late night hosts, a lot of specific. There's a character who is based on that guy or like a mimic of that guy. There's also it's based in like the late the late 70s, so it's like Satanic Panic.
Yeah.
It was a thing, there's a cult feat mentioned in the movie that's based on an actual, like the original Satanist movement.
The show was by James Randi. It was called Psychic Investigator, and he basically has like an award to this day.
Yeah.
Where if you can prove that anything supernatural or like ghosts or magic is real, then you'll get like $1 million.
Yeah. There's a character that's like very directly based on him. Who's played by that dude from The Matrix. What was his name? Bane?
Lawrence Fishburne?
No. No, that's a me thing where it's like it's a super niche thing to remember that there was a character that was like he was a human whose mind was invaded by one of the agents, one of the Smiths. And so he doesn't look like a Smith. He doesn't look like what that guy's name.
I know
Hugo,
what you're talking about.
But he talks exactly like him. That guy.
You're talking about the guy that was actually out of the Matrix.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a very like well put. Like I would say like if you're a fan of horror movies, this is kind of a movie made for people like that. There's a lot of practical effects that I think is dope. I think like the emergence of practical and CGI is always better than either by themselves.
Yeah, you're probably right about that. Because it's just they're different tools, so you use one when it's better suited or the other. Do you like haunted houses?
No,
me either. They're too scary for me. I went to a haunted car wash, and my sister lives in Orange County.
Yeah,
they do a haunted car wash every year. Scared the hell out of me. There's a bunch of like guys dressed up as clowns.
Oh, I've seen that.
And they come up to your car, and you can if you allow them, they can open the door and like
crazy.
I don't know if they can touch you, but they can get in your car, and that's too real for me. There's something about that I can't handle.
I definitely think I'd be more comfortable as a scare actor than actually attending the...
Oh, yeah. I think I should... Maybe that would help me get over my fear, actually. I should see if Universal's hiring and become like... I got to learn how to walk on stilts, but I think it would be worth it to get over my fear.
My head hurts.
There's a tea for that.
I'm also sick.
There's a tea for that.
And I can't sleep.
Aw. Well, there's a tea for that.
Where are you finding all these teas?
Legacy Teas and Spices, of course.
What if I just want black tea?
They have that.
What if I get tired of regular tea?
Well, you're in luck. Legacy has a wide array of blended teas and flavors, including favorites like Peach Lavender Rose, Passion Fruit Hibiscus, and the all-time bestseller, Vanilla Lemongrass. Here, see for yourself.
Wow, I can't wait to try it.
Make sure to go to legacyteasandspices.com and use coupon code RYAN20 for 20% off. I heard like the kind of the place to be is Knott's if you can get in, because they do. Universal has themes. Like it's slowly turned into just like you can only be what they're offering. So you can only be like a zombie from that zombie movie, whatever, Walking Dead character. You can only be the creators they're referencing and coming up with. Knott's, if you have like the background for it and like the idea, they kind of let you do what you want.
Oh, okay.
From what I've seen.
You get creative with it.
Which I found out because there's really popular lady, I forget her name, Bisbo. Her clown name's something super specific, but she's also like, I think a cosplayer, and I think she does voice acting. Mm-hmm. So she utilizes that. The outfit is amazing. If I can remember, I'll have Josh put a clip in. But the voice act, she goes back and forth between a baby voice and like an old like haunted lady voice.
Okay.
And it's like, I don't know, that thing is like huge for me because I'm a huge fan of voice acting.
Yeah.
But that specific tool is like so hard to pull off because to do a baby voice, you have to like restrict your vocal cords. And then to do like the growly voice she does, you have to push against your vocal cords.
Okay.
Which is strenuous and hurtful sometimes.
Yeah. So this is her original character that she does?
Yeah.
Okay.
As far as I know. And it's just giving me flashbacks. Because I mentioned earlier I beatbox, and those are two specific things I learned because it's how you do certain noises in beatboxing. Like the same thing that she's doing is how I go, yeah, and how I go, boom. And going back and forth between those things hurts. Like when I first started learning it, my not to be gross, but my throat bled a little bit.
Oh my God. That's crazy. You spit out blood?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit.
You're gonna spit out a little bit of blood, from time to time.
I got over it. It doesn't happen to everyone, but it definitely happens with people with like a softer like palate like mine.
You got to do that. There's like exercises I bet that you do, that you can do to strengthen it or make it more callous.
Yeah, it's a muscle. It's like a muscle training thing.
Right muscle now,
training. Those metal guys do.
Yeah. That is like the most I can do, but I've wanted to like pursue it further because that's like how you learn to throat yodel.
To yodel, your goal is to yodel.
Throat yodel. It's like the monk thing. I don't know if is there a way to pull it up?
It's like
it's not yodeling. It's not yodeling. It's like
okay, that sounds
didgeridoo noise, but with your throat.
Okay, so it's like Dune music, like music I would hear in Dune.
So.
Okay, yeah, that sounds familiar.
Do you have any? So yeah, I think the most common name for it is Tibetan throat yodeling.
Okay, yeah, I like the violin with it. I think that's funny. It's a because that's like a very intense way to sing. Yeah.
I would be scared if I heard that. If I was like
that's what I was gonna
say.
Yeah,
I'd be like, "Oh no, dude! No."
That is scary.
I'd be like, "Hell yeah, dude!"
Yeah, because that's probably like a peaceful, culturally, it's probably like a peaceful thing.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Yeah, but I would be.
And I'm just scared. My Western mind isn't ready for throat yodeling.
I mean, if I was like walking through a park at night and I heard a violin and a throat yodel, I feel like there was somebody after me.
Yeah.
Like, oh, this is how I die tonight.
Yeah. Car wash clowns.
Yeah. No, it's just a throat yodeling convention. It's just a
just an insular throat yodeling.
Yeah, I don't relax. Yeah. Stop being xenophobic.
There was some good haunted. When you said haunted houses, I was like, do you mean haunted houses or do you mean like theme parks? But then you clarified, and I was like, oh,
like
I went to go to like. Did you ever know Scandia? Did you ever go to the one at Scandia? There was a theme park inland that was like a little theme park, and it was called Scandia, and they would have a haunted house there every year. But it was so terrifying. Like they were allowed to touch you. They would like. they do this thing where you go in alone, like at like Not Scary Farm or Universal Studios, where you're like in a conga line.
Yeah.
In those ones, they're like, how many people are in your party, and you're like, go in by yourselves, and it's so scary.
Nope, not doing it.
Yeah,
not doing that. It's too real for me.
The most terrifying. I didn't go. The most like scary haunted house I've ever heard of was a church haunted house, because it was the ones where they try to like. The scary thing is like the way people can sin, and they try to make like theatrical, like practical effects. But like this one had a budget. It was the like mega church that used to be in Covina, Faith something, and it was crazy. They were using like the kind of effect. I don't know if you've ever seen Phantom of the Opera live.
No, I haven't.
It's such a niche thing for me to bring up. There's this scene in the play where he moves through a mirror to steal to kidnap the main character.
Okay.
And there's a version of it that was actually like aired live on television once, where they figured out a way to manipulate the mirror so it actually looks like he's coming out of the mirror without revealing like a hidden door or whatever. Mm-hmm. And they had like that kind of budget, like demons popping out of nowhere kind of thing.
At this church?
At this giant, well-funded church.
And it's kind of like to scare you for different sins.
Yeah, it was like there was like a room, like if you watch porn, a succubus would come out and just
an adultery room, a coveting thy neighbor's wife room,
stealing. There's one for stealing.
There's somebody just stealing in the corner.
Actually,
they're stealing.
Sorry, I don't know where that came. It didn't unlock to. I actually have been to a worse haunted house. It was like an interactive one.
Yeah.
And my brother was picked to be the interactive guest, and they pull up a curtain with a giant light, and there's a clown running it, and he just hacks my brother to death in front of everyone.
This was at a church?
No, this was like a regular. This was like somebody's like house though.
Sure.
But it was like unlocked a weird memory. I don't know if they'll remember. Still comment if I'm wrong, but it was like you're taken through like a evil clown's like slaughterhouse, and at the end of it, he picks somebody and he pretends to hack them to pieces.
Okay.
And there's blood splurts on the wall.
And your brother was the person.
I was like 5, and and it was crazy. It was super hyper realistic.
You thought your brother was actually being chopped up.
Yeah, it was insane.
Yeah,
it was.
They should have told you beforehand that it was all fake.
It was the thing of like it was so low budget that it felt real.
Yeah,
and that was I think the worst part about it.
The scariest one I've ever been to was at Gosty Winery. There used to have a haunted house there on the train tracks because it was themed after an actual girl that died on the train tracks.
Oh,
and it was like because there's like it's like haunted, so there's like the girl in the white dress story kind of a thing, and they did like a walkthrough through with that theme, and it was crazy. It was like walking through a cornfield kind of, but then you get to like the train tracks, and I don't know, it was terrifying.
I'm sure it was terrifying, and I would be terrified. But this whole ghost story concept that people build entire industries on, where it's like, and this woman died, and it's like I'm supposed to be one woman. Yeah. I'm supposed to be scared of one death. Like I don't one ghost. That's all that you guys built the whole house around this one person.
I've always kind of felt that way about like possessions in general. I'm like, I'm not scared of this little girl. Dude. This little girl throwing up, dude. She's about to get knocked out.
She's too small for you to be afraid of.
For me to be afraid. Yeah.
You
gotta possess a big dude or something.
They never possess a big dude. It's always a little girl, like a cute. Yeah, you're like I could even with supernatural power. I think I can overpower.
It's because like big scary dudes. Still they just believe in Jesus, so they don't they never get possessed.
They're all saved. They all have the Lord on their side.
The kids are too young to like know one way or the other.
They're susceptible.
Yeah, they're susceptible. That's so funny. Like, The Exorcist, but it's just like a big buff guy that gets possessed instead. It's like, that's a scarier movie for sure.
What do you think about like mainstream horror? Like, I know that there's a huge conversation from the community about like 2010 era reboot horrors where they were super flashy, like versions of classic slashers.
Oh, like when they did like Freddy versus Jason or whatever.
Although Freddy versus Jason was kind of dope, but like that genre of they redid Texas Chainsaw and they redid Friday and Halloween. It was off. Paul Rudd was in Halloween 3. crazy.
I've
Or
only-
H2O.
I've only seen some of those. I'm not super well versed in horror movies. Like I like the ones I've seen, but yeah, that like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and I think I watched that one, and it's fine. It didn't really scare me. I think like it was like the Rob Zombie era where everything was like super bright and like super saturated,
Yeah.
and like everything was fast, and they're like, we're gonna make the bad guys fast now. That was like the big thing or something, and I don't remember like being super scared of that like era of horror, or like very interested in it, I guess.
Yeah,
I'm not saying it's bad. I just it wasn't my bag, I guess.
I agree with that. I only like a couple of them, or like the Halloween, Rob Zombie's Halloween. And it's like they made him a kid and made me like feel bad for him. You know what I mean?
yeah.
I don't need that.
Yeah. I feel like that's also when Disney started like, what if you knew their backstory? Like,
Star
what if
Wars.
Maleficent had a reason, you know,
Oh yeah.
to kidnap and curse this baby?
I haven't seen Wicked, but that's kind of Wicked too, right? Where they're like, what if we went to the backstory of the good witch and the bad
Wicked,
witch?
I was always so confused about Wicked, and someone finally explained it in a way that I could understand, where it's like, it's not a prequel or a sequel technically, it's independent from the original canon. It's a retelling and reimagining of the story overall. So it starts, as I understand it, as a prequel, dives into the time during Dorothy, and then ends afterward.
Okay, so it's just a different thing with
Yeah.
the same characters. Okay, gotcha.
Alt timeline.
Which, like, so many people want to recreate. I feel like Wicked is probably one of the better versions of this, but, like, did you know Zooey Deschanel was in a sci-fi version of Wizard of Oz? It had robots.
No.
It had Alan Cumming as the Scarecrow, and he was trying to do a Newark accent for some reason.
Interesting.
I think Alan Cumming is a very talented actor, but I don't think that choice was...
Who's Alan Cumming? Like, how would I know?
Floop from Spy Kids.
Floop from Spy Kids. No.
I'm trying to think of another popular... I'm thinking of very specific. He was like the German from the Cabaret the first time.
Not familiar. Oh yeah, okay, Floop. Yeah, no, I do remember him.
That's what I said. No.
You know, it's funny when you said Floop. That is who I imagined, but I didn't want to be like, oh yeah, I didn't. Yeah, I don't want to be like, yeah. I do that too often, where people will be like, you know that thing that I'm talking about. I'm like, yep, I do. I'm just lying through my teeth. I'm like, I don't know. I just want to keep the conversation going. Like, but you're right. That was a good connection. Hey, Spy Kids 3D.
Not for me.
Not for you.
But
Okay.
I believe that's when
I had a good time. I remember I had a good time.
Oh yeah.
I
Yeah.
liked it.
I
Mostly, you know,
I was into 3D when it came out.
for sure.
I think I still enjoy 3D.
I do think that's when Rodriguez like left the franchise though, because Robert Rodriguez wrote the original two,
Right.
and the original two are the ones that connect to like Machete and stuff. But afterward, it's just the studio making more movies.
Okay.
I do like 3D movies. Are you? Because I know you have like vision stuff. Does 3D work for you?
When I wear I have to wear them over glasses, and it's definitely harder now. Well, so one thing that has benefited me is they changed how they make 3D glasses. So the like synchronization happens in both lenses now. Like they found a way to layer it into the lens
Right.
on both sides. That's why it's not blue and red anymore. It's like black and black.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know 100% how it works, but it works better for me now. It's not I don't get the full effect. I don't think something's coming at me, but I do see it like pop off screen.
Sometimes it's fun. Sometimes it's just like you're just looking at something 2 layers,
Right.
where it's like, oh, the background and then the front, and it kind of looks like a diorama.
Yeah.
But
Simulated depth.
simulated depth, but it does still look 2D and a little weird. Like you're not seeing the curve around the mountain. You're just like, yeah, okay.
Layers.
I liked
Yeah.
Harold and Kumar 3D. They're 3D.
I didn't see that.
That one's funny.
I watched it
that
regular, and it was so. I love watching a 3D movie.
Not 3D.
Not 3D.
3D.
It's
Yeah.
fun to see.
Seeing like when they're trying.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
love a 3D like gag
Yeah.
where they're like, whoa. Yeah.
My favorite example is Aliens versus Monsters. Have you seen that?
No.
It's a cartoon. Have you seen Aliens versus Monsters?
I think I've seen it, but I don't remember.
It's
remember
like
the movie,
Reese Witherspoon is a ginormica. Seth Rogen is Blob.
yeah.
But there was a lot of intentional bits. The opening bit is literally like this dude just playing with a paddle and then just slowly once in a while throws it at the camera, and then something panics, suddenly something bad happens and he leans into the camera like, oh no, and it's overly intentionally dramatic. It's funny.
Yeah, that's like when you go watch Muppets 3D at Disneyland. I don't think it's there anymore.
It was 4D, but they decommissioned it. They're supposed to be coming up with something else.
I like 4D where your seat moves a little bit and you get sprayed with the sneeze water.
I mean, when I was a kid, I like Honey, I Shrunk the Kids 4D. Oh, yeah. That was my experience with it. It blew my mind. It really, like, there's a part where a snake comes at you, and I was like, is everybody seeing? Because when you're seeing, when the snake comes at you and you've never seen 3D before, it looks like it's just coming at you, and you're like, how is everybody else positioned in a place where it's also looks like it's coming with them? Felt very real. And then I've never seen like a 4D movie as like the new technology. I've never experienced it, but.
I don't think I have in the last few years, so I might be behind as well. I never thought about that.
A lot of them started shutting down. A lot of them changed. Like Universal used to have Terminator 2, but then like people forgot what that was. So now it's a Minions ride. Right. And or is it Pets? One of the two.
At Universal, all rides eventually turn into Minions rides.
Yeah, and then Shrek got taken out to do a new Harry Potter one, I think.
They took out the old Shrek to put in a new Shrek.
That's funny.
Yeah, it's interesting to think about what franchises will be popular enough in the future to have a ride, or if we will make rides for some of the stuff that's popular now. Will there be a Dune ride? Will there be a
That'd be tight.
What's
people throwing sand at you while you watch the screen?
What's the Bob Dylan movie? Maybe they'll make a Bob Dylan ride.
That's funny. Your seat's just shaking.
Their seat's shaking as he like plays the guitar.
How does it feel?
How does it feel? Whoa! To be on your own. Like a rolling stone. Whoa! It's like a you're like moving. Whoa!
That might be interesting, like a 4D experience for music videos.
Oh yeah, that would be cool. Yeah.
Looks the thing at you.
Yeah. Music videos aren't a thing as much anymore, huh? Like, I mean, I know people still make them, but like,
I think it's been taken over by like clips.
Yeah,
clips.
Like the internet, you'll get like a little music video.
Yeah, like on Spotify where it's like a loop, and you're like,
I feel like people start doing skits in place of like they'll do the music video, but it's always a skit behind it. Collaborations.
I have a funny experience where I was like watching a thing on Spotify, and I was like listening to a song and like watching the loop on there, and I didn't realize it was a loop, and my friend came up and she was like, you know, that's a loop, right? It's not a full video. And I was like, no. She's like, yeah, that's a 10-second loop that you've been watching for 3 minutes.
That's so funny. That's like those comments on Instagram videos are like, why is this video 10 hours long?
Yeah.
It's just 3 seconds of like a rock teetering on a hill.
Yeah.
It's crazy how much server space must exist out there for like YouTube used to like it used to be very limited and still is, like unless you have a certain amount of subscribers, I think like you can't post like hour-long videos. Am I wrong about that? Or
I think you can. I mean, we post hour-long videos and we only have like 1,000 subs.
Maybe now it's changed.
Restrictions on like shorter videos. There's a limit to like if it's too short, it's a reel, not a post, so it like functions differently on the app.
There's that, but it's like it's crazy because it's like now you can post like 10-hour videos and they're just like, yeah, sure, go ahead if you want to. It's just more room for us to put on ads if you want them, I guess.
That's right. There's a video, there's this dude, I forget what it's called, but he makes like D&D skits, like cartoons, and he has this one character that got popular that's like a barbarian that talks like Nicolas Cage. And the joke is that like he's an unstoppable force in whatever situation, you know. There's one where a warlock is threatening him with a magical blade, and he fights back with a toothpick. And at the bottom of the screen it says, click on the next video to watch the 10-hour version, because it's a thing of like he's supposed to kill him in a million pokes.
Yeah.
So he made a video just looped like 1 through 20 over and over and counted to 1 million. It's a really boring visual video, but if you turn the captions on, they start talking to you. They're like, are you seriously watching this?
That's
cool. Yeah.
I like stuff like that.
Yeah. That's a lot of care and attention put into it.
Yeah, I'm trying to get into that. I'm trying to get into like sketches and promote. You know, I for so long have been aspiring to like get into voice acting and impressions and stuff, and then now I'm almost 30, and I used to be a huge voice acting nerd. I still consider myself, but like my collective knowledge of animation stops at like 2016. And then at that point, I'm at, I graduated in 2013, but at that point, like, people my age started becoming voice actors. People I know started becoming voice actors. And now it feels so weird trying to get back into it from, like, a fan perspective.
Yeah.
Because, like, dudes younger than me are, like, successful fucking voice actors. So I'm trying to, like, push for that more from my own. Like, I bought a mic studio and I started making demos. I made a cartoon. Sorry, brain dysfunction.
You made a cartoon and then you voiced it?
Like, well, it's not even a cartoon. It's like a frame by frame still of a short comic I wrote, but I am voiceovering, like doing the voiceover throughout the.
Yeah, that sounds really fun. It's a great start. It gets you in the character and like gets you doing the voices and stuff, which is cool. And it can like bring something to life, even if it's a series of stills. Like it's fun to like watch. Like when you're a kid and like you would watch the DVD featurettes, and it's like just the storyboards, and you like see the actors actually like speaking over just the storyboards and stuff. It's kind of cool. Or sometimes it wasn't the voice actors from the actual movie. It would be like the producers doing like a shittier version of it. And you're like, this sucks. These voices are terrible. That's not Shrek.
I always like watching those because you could see like where there's a joke that was just for the writer, but they shortened it for the movie. I was like getting into that mind space of like the guy creating it.
I like production stuff, so those things are always super interesting to me. Even like the idea of like, I'm like, oh, that's okay. They're setting it up themselves. They're feeding the lines to them, and like it's like getting my mind, and I don't know. It just makes my brain go.
Yeah, they're like doing the opposite characters' lines. Yeah,
there's like a thing like that in rap with like producers where they'll like they'll write a song, they'll write the whole song, and they'll like record the song themselves, but it's like supposed to be Beyonce or something.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
As a reference track.
Yeah.
That's always super cool because there's like songs out there that are like Eminem. Eminem's a good example. He has songs with like 50 Cent and Dr. Dre where he wrote all of the lyrics.
Yeah.
And so there's like versions where it's Eminem rapping as Dr. Dre and Eminem rapping as 50 Cent and like saying their lines that eventually end up becoming the song. But there's like these pre-recorded skeleton tracks, as they're called.
Sure.
Right, yeah.
No,
which is really cool.
It's interesting to see like that mindset because people always, and it's funny to say because it's a thing I want to do, but people always associate that concept with the actor and not the writer. But it's like, no, it's coming from the writer.
Yeah.
I wonder how Dr. Dre felt about that. He gets the song and Eminem's already done he's already done the tracks.
Well, I mean, Dr. Dre, that's his thing. Like, he doesn't write raps. So, like, his whole career, if you listen to his songs, he always sounds very similar to whoever's featuring on his track with him. Because they're the ones who wrote the lyrics.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, that was always his thing, right? Like, he's
a producer.
He was always the producer, not necessarily intentionally being the voice. Well, this has been fun.
This has been great.
I want to thank you for coming on. Is there anything before we head out you want to promote? Anything coming up?
All I want to promote is my Instagram because I post about everything else on there. So
for sure.
if you liked this, then follow me on Instagram. It's at Milan Patel _OK. I bet if you just type in Milan Patel, I would probably pop up as well. But just follow me on Instagram, and then I post about like my shows on there. There's like links to other stuff I do, to my YouTube and all that stuff. So yeah.
Oh, yeah, and we'll drop a link in the description just to be sure.
That's all I want to promote.
See you plotting reels.
I'm plotting reels. I'm
plotting reels. I saw that picture the other day.
I'm obsessed. I'm addicted to posting reels now. I can't stop. I'm addicted to the grind culture, to the hustle culture of posting reels.
Abundance mentality.
Abundance mentality. If you follow me, you're gonna get one reel a day. I promise you that, and it's gonna be high quality.
Hell yeah.
High quality editing. Do you want to promote anything to me?
Just our friendship.
Okay, bye. We'll see you later.